Gruns is a brand that is about to be acquired for $1.2 billion. And there's one main thing that they do correctly that puts them apart from most brands and something that you need to take into your own branding, which is their retention funnel. So not only are they running incredibly effective ads, but their entire retention funnel, including SMS and email, is what's really driving the revenue and got them to the point where they were able to retain enough monthly revenue that they could be acquired at that amount. So I've legally gone ahead and stood in their entire funnel so that you can literally just copy paste it into your own brand. And I'm going into incredible detail per thing. So you can literally just pause the video, apply it to your own brand, and you will probably see the same results. So let me dive into it. Alright, so over the last few months, I've literally been gathering so much data about them. You can see that I've taken into account their ads, I've taken into account the sign-up form, what SMSs they're sending, how they set them up, what kind of copy works for them, what kind of offers they're using, and how you can mimic every single thing. So main thing, let's dive into their ads, because this is of course top of funnel, and everything starts with top of funnel. So you can't have effective email marketing if you don't have a kind of an omnipresence, flow set up with your ads and your emails. And so this is what they do incredibly well. They have these really specific ads, and when we take a closer look at them, they have an attractor offer. Number one, they lead people to a learn page, and then they also have very specific pain points targeted. So take a look at these. These are gut specific ads, and they essentially talk about tummy issues. They talk about, they have influencers talking about gut, and they specifically mention gut over and over and over again. And what happens is they lead you to this learn page where it says 6 reasons why Gruns is your gut's new bestie. They talk about all the issues that come along with gut health, which most people do have, and then they specify their landing page and their product page to gut health. Then you can see they do the exact same thing for weight loss, for example, then for health. So they know their customers so intimately, or at least they're getting to know their customers so intimately by running specific pain point based ads. Then they go to a learn page, and from there they get very specific funnels. And so let's just say that you come to the website because of one of these pain points. That's not where it stops. It's not just a great way to acquire top of funnel traffic, but it's a great way to acquire it, because if you take a look at what they do with their sign-up form, this was their old sign-up form. They now changed it, which I'm about to show you, but it's the same setup. This is by far the best setup that you can possibly have. Essentially, they have a very attractive offer, as you can see over here. So it basically is 52% off, which is so attractive. And if you don't have an attractive offer, you should run a mystery offer. So they're running this. And then from here, you choose your pain point. And the whole point of this is that you'll see shortly is you select this, and then you go into a very specific and targeted welcome flow that speaks to that pain point. So this is not purposeless. Every single thing they do is with a purpose, a specific pain point on top of mind, and then they lead you to that pain point being answered through their funnels. So when you get to this sign-up form, what's working well here is they're asking for your pain point. You enter your pain point, they now can classify you, and you are so into the offer because it's such an attractive offer that there's no reason you wouldn't fill this out. You're probably thinking to yourself, this is non-transactional. I want to answer this because people love being asked questions. And so they're going to answer this. They're going to feel like they're getting something completely tailored to them, which they are. So let's just say you choose gut health. Then it's going to get your email address. This is where you start to unlock it. You give your email address. It's these micro commitments that I've spoken about in a few of my other videos. Then you go and give over your SMS and your number, right? And so this is their new sign form, exact same setup, right? So this is just in the wrong order, but essentially what they do is they ask for your interest again. So if you go take a look over here, except now they are changing up the way they ask it. So I need gut health support. I want an easy nutrition solution. Whereas this one was a little bit more simplified, and they didn't really understand what people actually needed. And so over here, they're making it way simpler. I'm on GLP-1, but I don't feel great. I want a nutrition solution. I need gut health support. And so you're almost like self-diagnosing, and they're making themselves appear like they are the solution to that. Then they get your email address, then SMS. So you can see they consistently set this up the same way. I highly recommend that you do. So let's just say that you are a wellness brand and you actually help with sleep, stress, and focus. Then you should say, I need help remaining focused during tasks. I need to improve my sleep performance. Those are things that you should have on this form. Then you categorize them. And then from here, what's going to happen is they're going to send you a series of SMSs, and then they're going to put you into their welcome flow. Now, their welcome flow is about minimum of 4 emails. It actually is a little bit longer, but these are the most important things. Take a look. I specifically chose gut as my issue, and then they sent gut specific pain points and mention in the welcome flow. So here is how to get good gut feelings. Here is exactly what works with their product. They are building trust by having a review section. So all of this in email 1 is doing everything it needs to. It's showing me exactly what the pain point was that I saw in the ad, and then saw again on the welcome flow or the sign-up form. And now I get to answer, or I get answers to all of my pain points, right? So they send a minimum of 4 welcome emails. And then they show you how they replace specifically other supplements. So in email number 1, what they're doing well and what you need to mimic is they keep it short and simple. You can tell there's not much words. There's not many words in this. The whole point is no one reads emails, they skim them. And so email number 1 is doing exactly what it needs to. It keeps you in hook. So they have a headline that hooks you in. In the first 5 seconds, they're showing a CTA. And then they have this breakdown with super quickly saying, hey, this is why Gruns is better for your guts. Then they have a hero visual, and then over here an infographic. That is usually the formula that they use. So they use a headline, number 1, then they use some subtext, number 2, and then they use a CTA, number 3. So let me write this correctly. Then some kind of image, which is great, number 4. And then number 5 is a infographic. So super, super simple. That is exactly how you should build it out. In the first 5 seconds, all of this should be answered. And then they have another CTA and then additional information and some kind of review source, right? So this first email is doing everything you need. You know exactly that this is a solution to your problem. You know why it's a solution to your problem. And it builds trust because it shows reviews. Then the next one is a little bit more pointed, but what they do really well is now they're comparing themselves to other supplements, which is what you want to know. Why should I take this instead of the supplement I've been taking? Why this versus something else? And again, they build that out in an infographic so you can see absolutely everything and you can pinpoint what you actually want to take a look at. So is it portable? Okay, great. What is the cost per serving? Making it very clear. Then if you choose brain support, this is what they do. So similar kind of formula, and then you can see what they do for this one. So every single time there's an infographic in most of the emails in their welcome flow. Either way, whatever pain point is chosen, they send very pointed answers and solutions to said pain points. Now let's take a look at what happens if you fill out your SMS, right? So with the SMS, they are surprisingly aggressive. So if we take a look at this, right, we can see that pretty much almost every single day they're sending something. Now, these are not in order, but what you can see is 10th of July, they actually sent 10 different emails, and then 26, 27. So let's go backwards here. On the 10th of July, they sent the super short email or SMS over here, right? And then they sent another one saying, hey, welcome, blah, 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 adding a little personality. So our founder's wife didn't save his number in a phone until they got married. Don't do that to us, please. So it's just like a fun kind of taste of everything. But the welcome offer is super pointed. It's to the point, right? So you immediately see that this is just one sentence showing you exactly how to get your 52% off that you actually subscribed for. So that's so, so, so important. Then they send a little bit of a longer email that gives you a little bit more background into the brand. 30 minutes later, they send another one. So this is hyper aggressive, but candidly, I don't think this works incredibly well for most brands. I think with a brand like this where you have very little to lose, there's no point in trying to play it safe. And so this works for them. I would not recommend it. What I would recommend is sending one maximum and then maybe an hour later sending this one. So that would just be my advice based on what we've seen work best. But now if we carry on with the SMSs, you can see that this is the one that came 30 minutes later. This one came a day later, and this one is great. This is what I recommend as well, is they're giving a little bit more background on the product. So why is it different? And now they're just being a lot more pointed to the point, because remember, SMS, you don't want to write a ton of information. Then over here, making sure that it speaks to your pain point. So again, this is specific to brain health. So this is pointed to the pain point that I chose in terms of brain health. And again, it goes on. It is also talking about pricing. It talks about how other vitamins are actually overpriced. They're throwing stones at the competition. Then 2 days, or actually 1 day later, they send another one. This one is much longer and making sure that it's pointed on your pain point again. Now, this is one that I really, really like. It's a review kind of disguised as an SMS. Then on the 16th, so this is a day after this one, they're basically sending one every single day. They skipped a day, then they send, hey, by the way, you're missing our summer sale. So this is the way that SMS is intended. Not necessarily to the degree that they are. It is hyper aggressive, but you can see how short they are for most of them. The welcome flow ones are a little bit longer because it's trying to tie in with the omnipresence of the welcome flow on the emails. We're trying to give you a little bit more of an answer to your decision. And since you're new to the brand, you want to understand the brand a little bit more intimately and the product that they offer. So whereas later on, they start to make them very pointed. You can see that these are pretty much just 1 or 2 sentences max, and they're not taking up much space. They never include really emojis except for the beginning ones. But they don't include emojis because it takes up more credits. They don't attach images, and they don't have a lot of text. They keep it super short and simple once the welcome flow is complete, which is these few SMSs, right? And you can see that they basically, within their welcome flow, had about 2, 4, 6, 8 different SMSs come, each one kind of a day after each other, if not a few hours after each other. So hyper aggressive strategy, but this gives you an idea of how you can and should be utilizing SMS based on what the top brand is doing. Now, if we go back, so that's their welcome flow pretty much covered. You know they're sending very aggressively in SMS and how it ties into the welcome flow. You know, targeting pain points is the number one thing you can do. And keep in mind, if you're a jewelry brand, you want to kind of repackage this. If you're a jewelry brand, you should be asking, hey, what are you looking for? An engagement ring? Are you looking for a bracelet? Are you looking for a necklace or other? And let people choose and then lead them down the road that best outlines what to get. Likewise, if you're a clothing brand and you have athleisure clothes, try and figure out, are you looking for things that you can wear casually? Are you looking for things to wear to the gym? That is what you need to walk them through. So it's very, very pointed. Now, once you enter into their welcome flow, let's say that you are convinced enough to try a product and you abandon your product. You are kind of convinced, you want to go add it to your cart, and then you leave it behind. This is what's happening. They are sending 6 emails in their cart and checkout abandonment. Most brands stop at 2 or 3 emails maximum. They don't. They are literally sending you 6 emails, and you can see the cadence of these emails. Day number 1, they send you 1 email. Day number 2, they send you 2. Day number 3, they send you 2. And then day number 4, they send you 1. So it's basically all happening over 4 days that you're getting 6 emails, which is aggressive. But clearly it's working, they're doing something well. And what is working really well in these emails is they immediately show you exactly what you left behind, and they give you an option to complete your order. So over here, they show you exactly what you left behind. They just dynamically populate it. So within 5 seconds, you can see exactly what you left behind. They're making it easier to go back to your order. That's all you need. And over here is where, and this is what all brands should do, underneath the section that you show what they left behind, the entirety of the funnel is that they now double down on, hey, by the way, this is why we're superior. Because keep in mind, what most brands get wrong at this section is they think that someone just kind of forgot their order. They didn't. There's a few reasons why people leave this behind, right? They just don't trust you. Especially if it's a first-time buyer. They do not trust you. They haven't seen enough. They don't trust you enough. So at the end, when they go to fill out their billing information or they add into their cart, what's happening is they're getting buyer's remorse. They don't really trust you enough to make that promise to themselves, especially if it's a more expensive product. They also are a little bit more sketched out by maybe shipping times, shipping delays. Things like that really play a big factor. In my mind, I'm thinking, what is most convenient and what is cheapest for me? If I want a supplement, I can go down the road to the shop that is right next to me, and they have exactly what I need. So what makes me want to choose your product over what is just down the road? It's probably cheaper and it's easier for me to get because I can get it today. That's what you have to be thinking about. Shipping costs deter people. Shipping times deter people. Your pricing overall will deter people if they're looking at competition, which they are. And overall, how efficient is this and how sold am I? The only way they're going to counter that in terms of, instead of me going down the road to the shop, is what they know is by talking about their difference. They have so many reviews, it's almost like you know for a fact that their product is going to work for you. And so what they do is they don't trust you. That's why you have to have reviews. They don't know enough about your product. Shipping costs, shipping times. These are the real reasons people leave your cart or your checkout. They're not abandoning you because they forgot something. That almost never happens. But what they are doing is they need a little bit more of a push. And so that's why they do so well of talking a little bit more about their brand and their products and showing people why they're superior without actually saying it. They have these incredible infographics in all of their emails that breaks everything down way more. Then you can see it in the second email. Now they're building their trust factor and their benefits of their products way higher up. They are showing exactly what you left behind again. And over here is their review section. So here is where they're building a ton of trust with their users. Did you know only 1 in every 400 people return their gummies? So that is going to get you thinking because they have a guarantee. So you want to count on the fact that they have a guarantee. Now you trust them because if you do get it shipped, worst case, you can just ship it back, right? So why wouldn't you get it? And why wouldn't you get your incredible offer? And so you can see that they continuously reiterate that. The top part of the email is basically mimicked across every single one of their cart abandonment and checkout abandonments. The only difference is the value that they're giving in every single email. So here is how they compare a tablet versus a gummy, which are probably one of the pain points that customers have is, why would I use this if I use my capsules? This one as well. This is a gummy that fills all the gaps. This is going to answer all your sciencey questions. Here are some ways that you can use the product in terms of better habit. And that's pretty much it. So overall, they have a strong hook that shows you exactly what you need. Top part of the email, they show you what you left behind. They say complete your order. And then they have infographics and reviews that builds your trust and counters all of these pain points, which is the most important part of any funnel. So that's what they do incredibly well. Then when it comes to campaigns, this is where they are really, really, really standing out and making sure that they're converting people. If they haven't converted from their flows, which is very rare, I would say, because of how pointed they are, what they are doing is they're sending pretty consistently. So you can see that in one single month, they sent pretty frequently. Around 14 times is what they sent. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 times over here, and it's cutting off a few emails. Same as this month, around 12 to 14 emails. So every single month, they're sending around 12 to 14 emails minimum. And that is to someone who hasn't purchased, right? Because I'm not a purchaser. I've never bought their product. I've actually very much only open their emails. I don't even engage with the emails. And so this is going to non-buyers. Now you can imagine that the process looks very different for their buyers. I imagine they reach out far less, but they don't care to be super aggressive because they're trying to get me over the line. And take a look at what those emails actually look like. And to be honest, they are one of the best at the game at how they design their emails. It's a similar formula in every design. So they have a hook, right? They have a CTA super high up in the email. You can see that again, hook, CTA, almost immediately, hook, and CTA. So this is what they're doing incredibly well. In the first 2 seconds of the email, as soon as you open up, you immediately skim it, you're hooked, and then you want to buy through because you see an incredible offer over here. They're just using their welcome offer as the continuous offer to non-buyers because I haven't purchased yet. So why not have that offer in almost every single email? It only makes sense. Then underneath the hook and the top part of the email, right? So this is their first formula, is getting people hooked in the first 5 seconds. Then they have additional information. And when they have additional information, it is almost always an infographic. That is an us versus them. So take a look at this. This is an us versus them. This is an us versus them. This is slightly different, but it is showing some kind of infographic. This is an us versus them. And you see that consistently, us versus them. And it might not always be an us versus them. It could be a myth versus a fact. This one is us versus a powder. This one is a gummy versus a capsule. And so you always can reuse formulas. And what they know really well is that most people need visuals. They need infographics so that they can skim through and get the information they need. And so for me, let's just say I'm a non-buyer, and my pain point is that I don't want to take a gummy versus a capsule. This counts as that. Now they're targeting the next pain point, which is, maybe people are considering a different powder or a different product. This counts as that. This, again, different product, this counts as anyone that wants a different product. And this one is for people that don't really know how the product works, or they have false assumptions about the product. This solves that as well. And so overall, their funnel does some things incredibly well. which is they're very pointed with their ads. And so they're bringing in a specific ICP, which is a customer identity. They've figured out who their demographic is. They, number one, are running specific ads to them. Then from those specific ads, we're capturing them based on that specific information. So if their pain point was gut, we're capturing them on the form as a gut person. So they're running great specific ads, capturing a ton of information from people who are pointed. They're sending aggressive SMSs, sending very aggressive welcome offers and welcome emails. They have an incredible card flow that basically counters all of your pain points, and they're sending frequently and aggressively with campaigns that are skimmable and answer straight to the point what a customer would want to see. And so this entire funnel is so well dialed in, and there's a few things in here that you can absolutely apply to your brand. If I were you, I would go back to your creatives and your ad team that's running your ads, and I would make sure, which is what we do for our clients, although we're not an ad agency, we're an email agency, we make sure we have full alignment. We understand what is working well for their brands, what products are performing best on ads, and we're trying to align that with the sign up form. So if we know that gummies is the best sold, we want to have a pop-up form that specifies, okay, are you looking for gummies? Are you looking for this? Are you looking for that? Or are you looking for sleep, focus, or stress management? That's what we're putting in the sign up form. And so you can do the same thing. Make sure you have a sign-up form that has interest-based, ask for their email, ask for their SMS, and shows them a success page. Then send aggressive SMSs. Make sure that your welcome flow is specific to the pain point that people are coming to you for. This is what we build out for our clients consistently. And we make sure that, okay, we understand the pain point that people are coming for, and we build multiple arms of the welcome flow to make sure they're getting very pointed messaging depending on their pain point they chose. Then the cart abandonment and the checkout abandonment, we make sure that we are very specific with this. We show a different one to non-buyers versus buyers, and we make sure that we are building in their pain points specific to what they probably looked at. And then campaigns wise, we follow the exact same formula. So with you, highly recommend that you apply all of this. If you are, however, looking for an agency to just go ahead with the tons of data from an agency that's worked with over 200 different brands for the last 9 years specifically, then go down below, book in a call with us. I would love to build out your email channel, especially if you're a brand doing a minimum of $50,000 per month. Would love to work with you. So go down below, book in that call. But otherwise, subscribe. I'm going to do a bunch of brand breakdowns in the future if you like this format. So leave a comment letting me know if you do like this format. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.